We're going to go ahead and read the next Concorde Cunningham Scripture Sleuth mystery. And this one is called the Sap Whapper. The Sap Whapper. "You're kidding," Mrs. Cunningham gasped into the phone. "Okay, I'll see you there in a little while." Concorde and the rest of the Cunninghams looked up from their peach pie with curiosity. Mrs. Cunningham turned to them with wide-open eyes. "That was Betty from the Pine Tops Bird Lovers Society," she said. Mrs. Cunningham was an active member of the society. "Betty says Edmund Locke is winning the 50-year-old Sap Whapper contest tonight." Concorde exchanged puzzled looks with his brother and sister. "I didn't know there was a 50-year-old contest in Pine Tops," Concorde said. "Oh yes," his mom began. "The Pine Tops area is the only known habitat for the hooded northwest emperor pine sap whapper." That's a handful, mouthful. Mr. Cunningham looked up from his pie. "So people have been trying to catch the whap sapper for 50 years, he asked. "It's Sap Whapper," Mrs. Cunningham corrected. "And no, we don't believe in promoting the capture of wild birds." "So everyone tries to take a picture of the snap happer?" asked Concorde. "It's Sap Whapper," she said. The group giggled. "And no, we have many pictures of it." The pie eaters were confused. Concorde's younger sister, Charlotte, finally spoke up. "Then if you're not trying to catch it and you already have a picture of it, what's the Northern Emperor's Whoop Sappy Whap contest about?" Now the group was in full-bellied laugh, except for Mrs. Cunningham, who raised her hands to her hips. "The big deal," she said, "is that no one has ever heard the hooded Northwest Emperor Pine Sap Whapper sing. For 50 years, the Bird Lover Society has offered a prize for a recording of the Sap Whapper's song." "How big of a prize?" Concorde asked. "The society just increased the amount to $1,000 this year," Mrs. Cunningham said. "Since then, all kinds of people have been hiking through the forest with tape recorders." "Have there been any attempts to claim the prize before now?" asked Mr. Cunningham. He wondered if this might be a possible article for the Ponderosa Press. "There have been a couple," she said, "but the Society's expert panel recognized both recordings as other birds. The experts know every bird song there is, except, of course, the Sap Whappers." "I think I'd better come with you," Mr. Cunningham said. "This could be a big story for the newspaper if the recording really is the Sap Whapper's song." "What if it's just some other bird again?" asked Concorde. "That's why we're so excited," Mrs. Cunningham replied. She pulled her long brown hair into a ponytail as she got ready to leave. "Mr. Locke, who is claiming the prize, is one of the experts on our panel. He would know if this recording was the wrong bird. Maybe the whole family should come along to hear a piece of Pine Tops history in the making," Mr. Cunningham proposed. The family agreed. When the Cunninghams arrived at the auditorium a few minutes later, it was almost packed. Some people were bird lovers. Some wanted to be there when the Sap Whapper song was heard in public for the first time. Some just wanted to finally figure out the crazy name of the bird that everybody was talking about. After weaving through the crowd, Concorde found 5 seats together and motioned his family over. The Cunninghams sat down just as the lights dimmed. The Society's president, Mr. Burke, picked up the microphone on the stage as the spotlight found him. He was dressed in a blue suit for the special occasion. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen," he said. "Before I hand the microphone over to Edmund Locke and his recording, let me tell you a little bit about the hooded Northwest Emperor Pine Sap Whapper. It is the rarest bird in the Northwest. It lives by waterfalls. The mist from the waterfalls keep the Sap Whapper's wings moist so it can whap well. The bird is wonderfully colored with orange, green, yellow, and some purple around the beak." A slide projector cast an image of the bird on a large screen on the stage. "Without any further delay," President Burke continued, "may I present Edmund Locke." The audience clapped with anticipation as Edmund made his way to the microphone. "Thank you," Edmund said with a smile. He was in his 40s and he wore a flannel shirt, black jeans, and hiking boots. "It's always been a dream of mine to record the song of the Sap Whapper. I've been carrying my tape recorder with me on every forest outing for some time now, just in case. Yesterday, my wife and I hiked up to the Grand Pine River Falls. We were right at the base of the waterfall, gazing up at the beautiful 30-foot-high wall of white water. Suddenly, a sap whapper flew through the mist and landed on the tree beside us. It was big. It was a whopper of a whapper. The audience chuckled. I pulled out my tape recorder. I started recording just as my wife was saying how beautiful the sap whapper was. I managed to shush her just in time to hear the most unique bird song I've ever heard. He held up his tape recorder to the microphone and pressed the play button. The tape echoed through the auditorium speakers. "Look how beautiful it is, Edmund." Shh! The tape was silent. And then, quack, chirp, towee, towee, quack, quack, cluck. Quack, chirp, towee, towee, quonk, quonk, cluck. The audience jumped to its feet in applause. President Burke walked over to Edmund and patted him on the back. "Spectacular," President Burke said. "If I could get the rest of the expert panel on the stage, please, we'll decide if Edmund's recording is the winner of the $1,000 prize." As the other 5 panel members made their way onto the stage, Concorde rubbed his forehead. "What is it, Concorde?" his mother asked. "Something about this is strange," he said. Concorde wasn't sure why, but the recording was reminding him of a psalm that he had been trying to memorize earlier in the week. On stage, President Burke huddled with the other 5 panel members. Then, as the panel turned back toward the audience, President Burke picked up the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, by a unanimous vote, the panel has decided that we have just heard the first ever recording of the hooded Northwest Emperor Pine Sap Whapper's song," President Burke announced. As the audience applauded in celebration, Concorde's eyes froze and his eyebrows rose. He tugged on his mom's shirt. "It's a fake!" Concorde exclaimed. "The recording?" Mrs. Cunningham asked. "Yes," Concorde said. "You've got to stop them from giving Edmund the prize." "But what should I tell President Burke?" Mrs. Cunningham asked. "How do you know?" "Tell Mr. Burke that the evidence is in Psalm 42, the Concordant said. He closed his eyes and searched his memory. Psalm 42:7 to be exact. We'll find out next week what's going on with that one.